Alright, what's up guys, it's Tube. Obviously, man's got a bunch to talk about today. Let's get into it. First off, in the DLC announcement, we got Paradox, Suicune, and Virizion. This continues to blow my mind. So first off, we have Paradox Suicune, which is indeed a water dragon type. The cool poem was successfully answered. Okay, we're starting with Suicune because he's the actual good looking one. So here's the official artwork. So Suicune gets up on its back two legs and is a little raptor. The two ribbons that flow around Suicune are now more dragon-like tails, two of them, and it's still got the same spikes from the artwork that Heath drew. This raises a suspicion with what Heath even saw, or his team, because it's supposed to be a totally fantastical Pokemon, but his drawing is inaccurate and accurate at the same time. Suicune's this beautiful, serene Pokemon. It's the complete opposite here, and intentionally. We have to ask a very serious question in terms of the Burn Tower story. Is this maybe what Suicune always looked like, but after it died, Ho-Oh resurrected it more peacefully? Could that be the solution? Here's it using Hydro Steam, its signature move. We also have information on this. So it does 80 damage, it is a water special move, and it gets boosted in the sunlight. That is insane. And here it is as a Terra raid battle. Let's not talk about this for a second. Next up, we got Paradox Virizion, which it looks good. It's a metal Virizion. As you can see in its artworks, the three red spots, the one on its forehead and the ones on its neck, turn into swords. I don't know how productive he can really swing at enemies like that. Some of you guys were saying a good theme for the future is that it's perfect and boring. So here we got Virizion. It's perfect. It's smaller than the normal Virizion. It's compact, but it's boring. And here it is as a Terra raid battle. Its signature move is Psyblade. It's a 80 damage physical psychic move, and it gets boosted in the electric terrain. And their abilities are still photosynthesis and Quark Track. Now technically, if this Suicune is real, there probably is a past Raikou and Entei. And if these are kind of replacing the Galarian forms for the birds that we got in the DLC, that was a whole trio that got new forms. But don't latch onto that hope just yet. The main disappointment in this comes from the fact that there is no story relevance to these two Pokemon at all, despite having such good designs, especially the Suicune. They are simply Terra raid battles. It's what Ku said. These Pokemon were originally in the base game and were deleted last minute. It's because they had a useless purpose, like being... Moving on to the actual DLC itself. So for these DLCs, the theme is still the same as the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. The first DLC is called the Teal Mask. Both of these DLCs are using the color blue, which I don't get, because blue's not a color in between scarlet and violet. That would be magenta. Blue is just a random color. The Teal Mask is something you can do earlier in the game. If you have about 3 hours of save game, probably after you've started your treasure hunt, you can start this DLC. For the Teal Mask, the prediction was right. We're taking a school trip to the land of Kitakami, which is a city in Japan. It's a city famous for something called Tensochi Park, where there's a lot of sakura that bloom. It's also a festive spot where around April, a cherry blossom festival is held. Let's not draw the connection that this is technically Japan, because I'm sure this isn't linked to the first 4 regions. I mean, if I'm honest, it sounds like Johto. Don't think about it. You pretty much take part in their festival. You also get new uniforms while taking part in these festivals. I think the girl finally got a dress, but the man still has to wear shorts. This ain't even the traditional Japanese clothes. But yeah, it's made to be still uniform-like. Anyhow, in part 1 of the DLC, you're gonna run into these two characters, Carmine and Kyren, an older sister and brother duo, and these characters might play the role of like Claire and Avery, except they're gonna transfer over and play a role in the second DLC as well. But the idea of the first DLC seems to be the tale of Momotaro. So Momotaro, the Peach Boy, is a tale of a boy born from a peach, and he grows up to beat some ogres up. On his route, Momotaro befriends a talking dog, a monkey, and a pheasant, and they pretty much work together to beat the demons up. Now, on this DLC trailer itself, they show essentially the tale of Momotaro in this DLC. First off, there's this image on the wooden board of something running away from a boy with its 3 friends. That's the tale. That's the ogre. And then they show us these hideous creatures. We got 3 new Pokemon, which I think these things could be considered legendary Pokemon. A new trio of legendaries. First, we got Okidogi, which is the talking dog. He looks like Zarude's cousin to the T. Then we have Munkidori, who's obviously the monkey. But is that even really a monkey? You notice a pattern that they both got the purple going on for them. And then the talking pheasant, Fezandipiti. So obviously they have playful names like Okidogi. It's probably because they're from this children's folktale. So despite how ugly they look, these 3 Pokemon are not evil. They're the heroes that reside in that land we're going to. They made these statues to express their gratitude. They like these Pokemon. Then of course comes Ogerpon. And this is the ogre, the Oni. What you would imagine happened, look, it's even got the 2 horns. Japanese people love their masks. I would imagine what happens is you're taking a peaceful trip to this land and they're doing their festivals, then the ogre gonna show up and wreak havoc, and you're gonna befriend the 3 legendaries and go stop the ogre. Maybe a bit of flavor could be added to this, like maybe one of the brother or sister are evil and are doing something, and the question needs to be asked, who is the Peach Boy out of our 3 characters? I don't think we necessarily have to be Peach Boy. It could be the younger brother. But what's interesting about this creature is that despite us traveling to a different location, it's still under the header of being one of the secrets of Area Zero. Its mask also has all these colors and gems on it. It looks like he's somehow tied to the 3rd legendary or to Area Zero. Maybe on your trip to that land, this dude sneaks on and he actually snuck out of Area Zero with you back during the main story of the game. And him making it onto that island is what causes the events to unfold. But somehow this DLC has to tie back to Area Zero. The Pokemon's also hiding its face, but you get a pretty good glimpse at what it looks like. And a couple of you guys were pointing out that it has Glimmora-like eyes. And if it is a creature from Area Zero and Glimmora eats the 3rd legendary's energy, if these 2 eyes really are the same, maybe we can learn something about what Glimmora really is and how it relates to the 3rd legendary. Actually, this DLC happens while you're still early in Scarlet and Violet, so maybe it didn't necessarily just sneak out of Area Zero, but maybe someone got it to sneak out earlier, and so whenever you do take this trip, it's gonna follow you. Then we move on to DLC 2. This is the actual sequel and continuation to the story. The second DLC is called the Indigo Disk, and as you can see on the cover of the DLC, it has directly to do with the 3rd legendary, which we now see. It's a turtle after all. After all these crazy looking 3rd legendaries, we got a peaceful little turtle stuck in a hole. For once, the picture Heath drew in his journal is correct, but we'll talk about him in a second. In the second DLC, what you're doing is studying abroad, which raises some questions. We'll talk about it. At a place called the Blueberry Academy. This academy is said to be a sister academy to Uva/Naranja. So you have the Orange/Grape Academy, and the sister school is the Blueberry Academy. Second, studying abroad would answer why Blueberry is not written in Spanish. It's an academy linked to ours, but kind of not even in Paldea. It's this floating island shown in the trailer, and it is a completely underwater school. That's just the entrance. So it's possible that this is actually a moving academy, kind of like the SS Anne. It's weird they call it a sister school because it doesn't sound like it has any relation to our school, but it could have some backstory with Heath's time period. Maybe after Heath came out of Area Zero, shortly after is when this school formed. All they say is that you're gonna go to class here, interact with local students, and experience school life in this unusual academy. And that's all they talk about for this DLC. Somehow, this all has to loop back to the 3rd legendary. Maybe the people who created this academy are shady and they're trying to discover information on the 3rd legendary. Somehow we're gonna find them. And of course, the brother-sister combo are gonna be in this DLC too. Also, when we go to Blueberry Academy, we are wearing some high-tech professional clothes. We also got to look at a bunch of characters in the official art. So this is our 2 characters from Paldea. That's what we're repping. Then we have the brother and sister combo, and then 4 new characters. There's 2 options here. Either they're just strictly Blueberry Academy students, or maybe they're also international students from other regions. We have to see. There's also another part of the trailer where they show a mysterious trainer. I don't know who that could be. And then 4 silhouettes. One who I kind of see having a cape, so reminds me of Leon. But I think it'd be cool if like 1 or 2 characters from other regions show up here, like Leon. Like we know this game takes place like a bit after Galar. It'd be cool if one of the things Leon does is come here and you get to fight him. One interesting thing to note is we are repping the Paldea starters, of course, right? So it shows the fire, the water, and the grass. It also shows the same thing on their side, except they're not showing the Pokemon they use. So is it possible that there's like a different trio of Pokemon, new Gen 9 Pokemon that they have that are fire, water, and grass that they're hiding? We'll see. Which leads us to the last thing to talk about, which is the 3rd legendary himself. It's so weird how Pokemon does this. After all this anticipation, they just casually reveal it. The 3rd legendary with name Terapagos. however the lady says it.
Terapagos.
It is a turtle legendary that's glowing so brightly you can see this radiant pattern on its fur, and it has the 18 types on its shell, as well as the Terra symbol like a buzzer to push. It looks like a peaceful turtle Pokemon that meant no harm. Regardless of whatever it caused in Area Zero, it was just trying to exist. And then all these people went in the crater and started messing with it. Heat's drawing of it made it look kind of crazy, especially when he looked at its eyes. Here, he looks peaceful. Now, obviously, something's up with this Pokemon. I'm certain it's gonna have another form when you find it, and because of the meanies at Blueberry Academy, you're probably trying to find it. They're gonna push it and piss it off. And it's gonna do one of several things. It could either eat the Herba Mystica and turn big. It could either transform into a super terrestrial form, put you in a trance like it did Heath and Sada and Turo, probably, or something related to the time machine. Obviously, ever since we had the Distortion world, then we had Ultra Megalopolis. A cool thing, also the Ultra Beast worlds, a cool thing is visiting a special dimension or world. So how cool would it be if you could see the world AI Tura went to and AI Sada went to? Maybe you don't necessarily run into them because that would mess with the original ending to the game if he leaves and then you just see him again. But maybe you get to see the tropical past and whatever happened to the future. Maybe you get to meet like a character or two, kind of like the Guzzlord dude you can meet in his Ultra world. And of course, being in the home world of the two Paradox timelines, you can meet new Paradox Pokemon that didn't make it through the time machine. And maybe somehow, as much as Heath just gets high and has his team draw Suicune and Verizon and it turns out to be kind of true, maybe some of his descriptions, like a crazy scientist who made Iron Valiant, turn out to be true by pure coincidence, and you can meet that character in the future. Either way, especially since we're paying like 35 bucks for the DLCs together, something like being able to go to the past or future world temporarily, come on, we gotta have it. I don't even care about the dream theory anymore. Toss it out. We back to time travel. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Make sure you guys shank that like button and let me know, with full realistic expectations, do you think it's possible we can meet a past Entei and Raikou in Scarlet and then the other two in Violet? Will they complete the trio just like we had the Galarian birds, or is it just these two? Aside from the Terra raid distribution, W announcement, I'll see you on the next video. Take care.